Hey guys, if you like this content, I would greatly appreciate it if you guys like the video and subscribed to my channel. It helps make these videos worth it going forward.
What's up, guys? Altcoin Sherpa here with a crypto market review. Today I'll be reviewing a lot of the popular altcoins moving around and some overall macro market conditions as well as Bitcoin. As always, this is not financial advice. I am not an expert. Do your own research. So Bitcoin, I think, is as long as Bitcoin is in a short-term pullback, which I believe it currently is, I think that altcoins are very dangerous as a whole. The only altcoins I would look to long are the ones that are clearly trending strongly, such as Sand and Mana and like all those other coins. Uh, there are a bunch of coins like ETH coins that just are not good to buy in my opinion right now. Especially, it depends on what your strategy is and what your trade and investing style is. But um, if you want to take anything active, then I would not be trading like RSR, for instance, or like coins like that. Just like I haven't checked on RSR, but coins that just are kind of chopping around and not really doing a whole lot. The coins that I would really look for are coins like Sand, and we'll review Sand in a little bit. But I think it's entirely possible that Bitcoin goes to like 49K to 50K. I think there is a lot of confluence with that area. SR level, as you can see around here, it's the zero point 0.5 of this entire move. It's high volume node on volume profile, 200-day EMA, right around 50K. There's just like a lot of confluence around that area. It's entirely possible that this current area holds as well. Um, around 53K or so. Again, SR flip um, kind of a demand zone as well, but as I said before, there is a lot of confluence near this like 49K area. So, that's kind of like the midterm context for Bitcoin. I believe that Bitcoin is still bullish personally. I think that it's still a bullish market structure on the 1 day. I think it just has to form the low. I don't know where the low will be set, either 50K or here. Um, and once I see that low, then I'll look for the next high. I don't know where the high will be set. If it forms a lower high somewhere around like 60, 3K or something like that, 60K, and then starts coming back down again, then I think that we're just like done for a while. It's a bearish market structure. But I fully believe that this will be a higher low compared to the low set in September, and then we just see like some movement. Okay, so let's look at Ethereum. ETH BTC has been ranging for quite some time. I mean, if you look at this overall chart, is coin has really just been in a range really since May. I'll come up with a better chart. This is a better one. Here it is. Pretty clear to me that this area or this coin has been in a range. I still don't really see it moving quite yet. Wait for volume to really pick up on an explosive move out of this range at a 0.08. Personally, I wouldn't be surprised if this comes back down, especially if Bitcoin starts to move hard to the upside or really to the downside. Then I think that this will kind of come down. But to me, this is still just a total range environment. I don't really see this going really strongly in either direction. I mean, sure, it could pull back a little bit down to like the EQ or potentially even lower to the 200-day EMA. But I believe that this still continues to chop for a little bit longer, likely. Going to have an explosive January is my prediction. I think that this continues to come down a little bit in December as Bitcoin grinds down. And then if Bitcoin goes from like say 50K to like 60K or so, that's when we're going to see some pretty strong altcoin moves, I believe, at least in the short term. And then if Bitcoin really starts to run, then we'll see something differently. This prediction of ETH BTC going really strongly, I don't know if the overall timeline is correct. Like if this could be a little bit longer. And it's really going to depend on Bitcoin. If Bitcoin really runs very strongly, then I think that it's going to take a lot of liquidity out of the market and ETH BTC will go down. And then once Bitcoin kind of takes a breath, that's when ETH BTC really moons. So I'm really waiting for ETH to catch up to Bitcoin after Bitcoin has its big run. But it's entirely possible that ETH BTC kind of moves strongly once Bitcoin has kind of taken a break. So one maybe possibility that we could see is ETH BTC has been in range for several months now. We could see it moon in kind of early 2022 while Bitcoin is somewhat recovering from 50 to 60K. And then as Bitcoin goes from like 60K to like 80K or 90K, then we see this like come back down. That's kind of a scenario that I'm kind of looking at. Um, and then after that point, then we see ETH BTC kind of like go higher. And if you look at it from like an overall like higher time frame context, ETH back in 2017, I remember this was discussion of the flippening, and then obviously it didn't happen. Um, who knows what's going to happen at this point? I mean, at this point, you can see that ETH is now in a fully bullish market structure, something that it hasn't seen since 2017, in my opinion. On a macro time scale, this has like been lower highs and lower lows all around, followed by an accumulation period in 2019, and then now we see some expansion. One thing to note though is that ETH BTC, it does take a long time to move overall. Like, you saw this kind of accumulation where it just sat for a long time. And there were a lot of people, including myself, that really we were all thinking that maybe it was a multi-year accumulation range from 2018 all the way to 2021. That's certainly a view that you could have as well. So overall, I think that we see ETH BTC as a bullish market structure, in my opinion. Um, there are a few scenarios that I'm viewing. As I said, I am looking at ETH BTC to maybe make a big move up in early 2022 as Bitcoin recovers from 50K to like 60 whatever K, and then ETH BTC comes back down when Bitcoin really starts to run hard. Another scenario that I'm viewing is that ETH just continues to chop all throughout the next several months. It chops for a little bit longer, and then Bitcoin makes its big move, and then maybe it like kind of comes back down, and then after Bitcoin has kind of like a big move, or it's taking a break from its big move in the spring. That's when we just see like a super explosive move from ETH BTC. That's kind of another scenario that I'm viewing, and just note that the longer that it takes for coins to range. So, for instance, this has been in a range since May, arguably, then the more explosive the move is. So let's briefly look at some other coins. I know this is like my like pretty messy list. Let's look at Sand and Mana. So Sand, this is a coin that I would consider buying, at least for a scalp. As of right now, it looks like it's potentially topped out. Now, you never really want to say that in these situations because of how strong these coins typically are. So like calling tops for these types of coins or these types of moves usually is like a bad idea, and like shorting these types of things is suicide in my opinion. At least like when it's like looking like this. When it's looking like currently, you can definitely take some shorts, because the market structure is arguably bearish on lower time frame charts. But um, for now, I would look for kind of like this 540 area, and this is an area I was actually viewing. I had some I was really eyeing this. I had some alerts and stuff set, but it never made it to kind of like my overall entries where I had some, I was going to go ahead and put some entries around this area around like the mid fives, mid high fives. Um, but is what it is. It's okay. This is like it got front ran, and this is like kind of moving up. I do believe that this is kind of a lower high at this point. We kind of saw this area didn't quite reach this area around 720, and I think it's going to hit like a lower high. But to me, like this does look like it's potentially kind of cooling off a little bit on higher time frame charts. Usually, you don't really want to see this kind of crazy price action with insane volatility with like kind of these like weird volume spikes. That to me usually tells me that this is like getting ready to cool off a little bit. And you can compare that to other charts as well, such as like I think X. Let's look at some other insane. Um, so like FTM, like you see like massive volatility at the top, where this is like some big red candles as well coming back down. This to me looks like pretty bearish, um, but this is kind of what you are looking at for a short-term market top. in my opinion, is when you start to see lots of volatility come in both ways. It's not this like clean kind of pullback like we're seeing right here, where there's not as much volatility. The candles are a lot more tight or a lot tighter, and the volume is still okay. Um, what you see more at distribution tops is a price action which looks like this, and you see lots and lots of volatility, which is what we saw here. Like, you see these big wicks in both directions. You start to see some sell volume coming in, and you don't necessarily have to see high sell volume quite yet. You'll see high sell volume on the big breaks, but I mean, sellers are, already filled up there. Um, anyways, that's where I'm trying to get at for stuff like sand. Like, when you start to see this kind of ping pong around at the top with high volatility, that's when you know that the market is kind of topping out. And as strong as this coin is, like everything kind of comes down eventually. So let's look at Mana, another coin that really was like kind of a follow to sand. Um, to me, this it looks similar in the sense that it looks like it potentially is time to cool soon. Um, I think that we might see a little bit more ping ponging around, but I think that this probably follows sand a little bit in the sense that if it starts if sand starts coming down, then I think this one will come down as well. And same with other metaverse coins, like they all fall into the same category and sector. So. Um, Oh, I wanted to look at Solana too. Solana was everybody's favorite coin, and it still is one of my bigger bags. Solana is really kind of a scary coin right now because, I mean, this overall demand zone around 185 or so has been tapped several times, and we're seeing kind of like this weaker and weaker reaction. If you've seen some of my other videos, you probably have seen my analogy of a bouncing ball. Support is like when you drop a ball on the floor, the first reaction is usually the best, and then you'll see like weaker and weaker reactions until support falls through. And this is very common when you see um, price kind of having like weaker reactions. These like bids are getting filled, so there's less and less orders in these areas. And to me, kind of like this next area up would be like the 150 area. Uh, and from an EMA standpoint, like the 200-day EMA is still like quite a bit lower. This 90-day EMA is a little bit higher, around 170. This area up, like kind of this 175 area might be like a next area up, but you know, I would really more look towards kind of like this 160 area, 165 area, if I were being honest. But overall, like I still like Solana. I think it's a good coin. I still think it's a good solid project, but wouldn't be surprised to see this kind of cool off a little bit overall. So those are kind of my overall thoughts on some of these coins. Please let me know what you guys think. Thank you for watching.